In this lesson, we will learn how to morph shapes. We have already done a project based on morphing shapes, but in that project we have used more transitions than morphing. So at this time, we are going to create real morphing. We will create this one. In this animation, we have 4 objects transforming into each other, and all of this happening on one shape layer only. So let's see how to make it. I'm going to create a new composition. Let's call it morphing. First we need to create a background for it. So create a new layer solid. I'm using same color, you can use your own. Just lock it, and I'm going to make it shy and turn on this shy switch. Now it will be hidden from timeline but not from screen. I just want to minimize number of layers on timeline panel. It will help us to have more room to work and avoid confusions. Now it's time to create new shape. So draw a rectangle first and hold down shift to make it perfect square. Using align panel, put it to the center of the composition. Grab pan behind tool and put its anchor point to the center of the shape. Deselect it, and let's create another shape in which you want to morph this square. Well, in my case, I want to morph it in a circle. Place it to the center of the composition and put its anchor point to its center. Now we have 2 shapes on our timeline, and I want to morph square into the circle. But we cannot morph these shapes until we convert them into paths. So expand shape properties of this circle, go to ellipse path and convert it to Bezier path. Now we will get this path of the circular shape. Just copy it by pressing Ctrl or Command C. Go to rectangle path and convert it to Bezier path, just like we did with this circle. Expand it, add a keyframe to the path, zoom timeline, go to 20th frame, and keeping this path selected, paste the circular one. Come over to this keyframe and just turn off this upper layer. Now if we play it, it will morph this rectangle into the circle. But here's the problem. On the last keyframe, it will suddenly change its position. And really, I don't know why it occurs. Maybe some bug in After Effects. But I found an easy solution for it. Just copy this keyframe, put your playhead to any frame you want, but next to the last keyframe obviously, and paste it. Now it will morph them in opposite direction. So just delete this keyframe and put this one on the first frame. Now it will work very well. We can place it to the center of the composition and can change its anchor point's position. It won't disturb its animation. But it's very flat. Let's add some interactivity to it. So select both keyframes and move them on render position. Open rotation property, add a keyframe to it, go to 5th frame and rotate it slightly anti-clockwise. -7 would be fine. So it will first rotate in opposite direction and then stay for a few frames. And then it will be converted into a rectangle with fast rotation. So set loop value to 1. Let me set it to 0 first because it has subtracted 7 from 360. Now set loop value to 1. Select the layer and press U key to open animated parameters. Select these path keyframes and move them. We will get this kind of animation. Let's preview it. Select all keyframes and apply easy ease on them. Let's preview it again. Fine. I think it should have some motion blur on it when it's rotating. It will just add some more interactivity. So easiest way to do it, select the layer and turn on this motion blur switch. But we won't get any motion blur on it until we enable this motion blur for all layers. Now you can see blur on the edges of the shape. Let's preview it. Excellent. Now we can delete this layer. We won't need it anymore. Let's morph it into another shape. So move few frames and add same keyframe here so that it will remain same for few frames and we don't get immediate morphing. Now let's create another shape in which you want to morph this circle. Polystar shape in my case. Go inside properties of this polystar and decrease its inner radius a little bit. Now, as we have done in last shape, convert it to Bezier path, expand it, and copy this path. Let me collapse it and hide this layer. Move 2 seconds, select this path parameter and paste the new one. Now it will create the animation. And look, this time it's in place, so we need not to change anything. Now let's add same keyframe to rotation property. And we don't need to rotate it anti-clockwise because it's a circle, so it will not be shown. Go to 2 seconds and change loop value to 2 because it has already rotated to one loop. Fine, let's add some details. So move 10 more frames. I think 5 frames would be fine. And rotate it slightly clockwise. Move 10 more frames and change its value to 0. Let's play it. It's giving jerk here, so come over to this keyframe. Now delete this one. Move to 2 seconds 10 frames, and on this keyframe just change its value to 7. That is rotated to clockwise slightly. Nice. Move 10 more frames and delete this layer. In this way you can morph these shapes. So just follow these steps and create other shapes. And please refer to project file which I have added with this lecture for further details. In next lesson, we will learn about particles.